Kakadosh, good evening. We're going to be continuing on Parashat Bo. So, first of all, there's the Barbanel, and then we're going to go into Rabbeinu Bachiyai that they asked the following question. What is the reason why it's split up the Makot in two different parashiot and where it's split it up? Because I understand if you're going to have all the Makot in one parasha, it makes sense. Or even if you're going to do, but why do we split it up in such a form? How many Makot are there in Parashat Bo? In Parashat Bo? 3. How do you remember? Bo. What's Bo? Bet and Aleph. 2 plus 1 is 3. Parashat Vayera, how many are? Well, obviously you have to be a rocket scientist to know. 7. But if you want, you could also know by doing Vav and Aleph. Vayera, Vav and Aleph, 6 and 1 is 7. So you already know that in Parashat Vayera you have, right, 7 of the Makot, of the plagues. And Parashat Bo, you have 3. Now the question that we ask ourselves is, what exactly changed? What happened exactly? So I'm going to read to you his Lashon. And listen carefully. He says like this. Why do we specifically start with Arbe, Choshech, right? Makabechorot. If anything, there's something wrong here. You understand? Because even if you're going to do the tzach, that's what he says here. Hello, enkanat chalat makot. And even if it's going to be according to the simanim of Rabbi Yehuda, the tzach, adash, ve'achav, it should be in sets of 3. So then it should have started already with makata barad. Right? So therefore, it's also wrong, meaning that where are you getting the order? We split it up on Shabbat. You remember we split up. We said the tzach, adash, ve'achav. The first 3, ani Hashem, I am Hashem. The second 3, what do we say? Not only that I am Hashem, but you remember, hashkacha pratit, right? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu is betocham, exactly. Bekerev haaretz. What's the third one? The third set of 3, right? Was what? En kamoni bechol haaretz. I'm the only one. There's nobody else. And that was Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. That's what we mentioned. That was on Shabbat's derasha. Yeah, so we split it up, but that's the tzach, adash, ve'achav. So even if you're going to do it like that, makab bechorot is out, is above and beyond. That's like another level. That's why it's a different level. But if it's going to be 3, 3, and 3, so fine. So do, but here it's in the middle. So he says one answer. The Barbanel says, listen carefully. Yesh lomar. From now on, it makes choshech on the land. What does that mean? From now on, it makes choshech on the land. It says because by arbe, that means locust, it's written the land became dark. Uvechoshech, you don't have to write it, but okay, fine. But by choshech, it's written by choshech al eretz Yisrael. Umakat bechorot is also choshech. Titachiv b'machshakim o shivani kemete olam. That it made them that they were like the people that they were dead. That it brings choshech into the world. So since you had the common denominator in the last 3 makot, that there was darkness upon all of Mitzrayim, says the Barbanel, that's why it was separate. That means the last 3, there was a common denominator. Each one, even though they were separate, locusts had nothing to do with choshech, but it brought darkness into the land. Choshech was 100% choshech, but even Makot Bechorot brought choshech. The fact that they all had darkness, choshech, that was a common denominator to put them all 3 together. So even though it's not according to the seder of the tzach hadash be'achav, like the splitting up of the Haggadah, of Pesach and things like that, it still mentioned the concept of choshech. Velinire, however, though, for me it appears, but there's another difference. Listen to this one now. What's the other difference? There's a difference from the makot, from the plagues that were in Parashat Vayera, and to the plagues that were in Parashat Bo. Why? In all of them in Parashat Vayera, meaning go back to last week's Parasha, and you're going to take from the beginning until the end, you're going to see that he starts being maftiach lahem. He's ascertaining to them that he's going to send Bnei Israel only after that he received the Makkah, and then he tells them after the Makkah is going to go away, now I'm going to let you go. Okay? Which means only after, so at the beginning, it was never before. It was always afterwards. First he gets a Makkah, pa, and then he says, you know what, please pray for me. If it goes away, I let you out. Yeah? And then you know what happens. 100%, but that was the, one second, we're going to see the difference between them. But that was the maximum, meaning the maximum is that only after the plague already came, and he's going to now ascertain them that if it's going to go away, right? For example, whether it's going to be with certain ones, there was no time in between as well, right? There was another one without atra. There was nothing. There was no. We're going to speak about the warnings down a second. Yeah. So he says, right? ויש מקום לומר, דמירא כי הייתה רווחה והכבד על ליבו, כמו שהיה באמת אחר כך, and then that's what happened afterwards. But what happened by הרבה? By the locusts? he's כבר הבטיח להם לשלח את הגברים לפני ביאת המכה. Meaning now all of a sudden, this week's parasha, it changes a little bit. What changes? Even before the makkah already came, he's already telling them, you know what, I'm going to send out the men. Only the men. But even before the makkah came, he's already telling them, I'm already letting loose. I'm already going to let go. Ya נמצא שאין כמקום לחזרה, והייתה בזה התחלת הגאולה. So this is the beginning of the geula. The beginning of the redemption is already when Paro is already letting loose even before the makkah. וכן לפני מכה בכורות, הבטיח שישלח גם את הטף, זולת הצאן והבקר. Then he even says the children could go. Just what? Not the צאן והבקר, not the sheep and the cattle. ולכן פרשת בו שהיא כולה פרשת גאולה, so therefore since פרשת בו is פרשת הגאולה, התחיל בה במכת הרבה, שהתחלת דגאולה ממש. So that's why the beginning of the geula. The beginning of the geula was when Paro himself was already letting loose even before getting the makkah. So therefore that's why it started with makat arbe. Okay, two different things. So it's basically two different answers. Why do we split up the parashiot in such a way? But I think it's actually very good food for thought anyway, just to have that in mind. And why did it happen? Obviously he didn't do it purposely because Bo comes with 3 letters, like a meaning like that, numerical value. Yeah. Obviously there was something there. So this is 2 different answers of what to explain. But now the Chachamim come and they say, this is Rabbeinu Bachyai. He's going to touch upon what we spoke about a little bit on Shabbat to do with the warnings. What does that mean? He says like this, Tarshu Rabotenu, ki 10 makot detzah chadash be'achav. The 10 makot, the 10 plagues of the detzah chadash be'achav, that's the acronym of the Rashi Tevot of what they are. It says, kemo she'em mesudarot b'Torah, just like they are in the Torah. Kaseder hazeh hayu 2 be'atra'ah, v'ashlishi shelo be'atra'ah. So you always had 2 with atra'ah, 2 with a warning, and 1 without a warning. 2 with a warning, without a warning. Warning, without a warning. Then it says, for example, Daled Sadi of the Tzach, Dam Sefardea, be'atra'ah. Kaf Kinim, without hatra'ah, without a warning. Ain Daled, right? Adash, Arov Dever, right? The wild animals and the pestilence. Yeah, be'atra'ah, it had a warning. Shin, right? The shechin, the vabuot, the boils, without a warning. Right? Barad Arbe with a warning. Choshech without a warning. Makkah Bechorot which is the 10th Makkah, it says that was with a warning. Ki achzor lesidur harishon, because you always go back to the beginning. And he already told Paro there's going to be Makkah Bechorot, the plague of the firstborns. Yeah, from the beginning, right? So he already told them. So therefore, what happened? He already told them about the warnings. So he says like this: not only that, if you're actually going to pay attention, you're going to find that the 2 which are in Hatra'ah, which are in a warning, he says, one of them says, come in front of Paro, come to Paro. What does it mean, come in front of Paro and come to Paro? There's obviously a difference. So if you pay attention to Makat Dam, go to Paro in the morning, go to the river. Yeah, Makat Sephardim, the second one, right? Is Kidbol Paro, come to Paro. Where's that? The palace. Right? Makat Kinim, there was no hatra, there was no warning. Umikan darshu rabotenu, mishelaka v'shana, somebody that gets makot once and twice, shuve matrinoto. They don't give him again. Because the second that a person gets 2 warnings, that's it. Right? Here in America, a lot of things are 1 warning. Yeah, but usually 2 warnings, and then strike 3, you're out. You understand? You're already out on strike 3. The first 2 is the warnings. The third one is a strike 3. Okay? So he says, "B'makat te'arov, chazal sidur harishon." And again, Ashkem baboker, yityatzeb lifnei Faro, where hine yotzeh ma'mayma. So again, the second group of 3, again, you're going to have the warnings. Where does he go? To the river. Go to the river, right? Or remember, the first one of each one was always on the riverbanks. The second one was always in the palace. And the third one was without a warning, right? Makat hashchin, there was no warning. Right? Makat barad, again, you go to the beginning. Makat arbe, again boel paro. Makat choshech, nor, nothing. Ve'al ken yeh li lefaresh. So therefore I wanted to explain. Ki Moshe haya modio maka, v'haya oseh lo hatra'ah. Pam achat aleor, upam shenit be'echalo. So Moshe Rabbeinu used to give him the warning. The first one on the river, and the second one in his own echal, in his own past castle. V'inyan bo el paro she'ezkiru b'chol pam pam yirosh she'yikanes be'echalo, to go in. וטעם הדבר שיהיו כל היתרו כסדר הזה, התראה אחת על יורו ואחת בהיכלו, להורות על עונשו וגאוותו וגאונו. Right, to come and to show how haughty he was. כי היה מתגאה על יורו. He was מתגאה, he was haughty on the Yeor, on the Nile River. כי עניין שכתוב, just like it's written, לי יורי ואני סדים, that I made the Nile River. והיה מתגאה בהיכלו, and he was also haughty in his house. והוא שכתוב, ויבוא אל ביתו ולא שט ליבו, גם לזאת, he didn't pay attention. הכוונה כי בגין שנכנס להיכלו ונתגאה בו, once he started becoming גאה, very haughty, לכן היה בז לדברי משה, he didn't care. שאם לא כן, אז if not, why did he have to say ויבוא אל ביתו? So it says that he was actually very, very haughty, just like it says by Nebuchadnezzar. So he comes and he says, just like the haughtiness broke Nebuchadnezzar, so too it says over here, so too Paro, the haughtiness actually was what broke him as well. You understand? He's actually very, very interesting. So then the parasha continues and it says, Boel Paro. Yeah, so he comes and he says, what does it mean exactly, Boel Paro? He says, Boel Paro, Rak b'pam azot. Only in this time you're going to come to Paro. However, though, after this, he's going to come to you. Yeah, כמות שדוב לקמה ויקרא משה לו ויאמר חטאתי. מכת חושך also ויקרא פרעה אל משה ויאמר לכו יבדו. ואמר לה באותו פעם כחצות הלילה. So it comes out that this is the last time that he has to come to Paro. From now on, Paro is going to have to come to him. And that's why Makadosh Baruch Hu tells him, Boel Paro, this is the last time that you're coming to Paro. After this, he's coming to you. You're not coming to him anymore. Yeah, that just understand.
Then Paro said, next time you see me.
Yes, and that's why he right away went and he told him, you're correct, I won't see you again. And that's why he told him, in order that he doesn't have to come back again to see him. Because once Moshe Rabbeinu said, you're correct, that's it. So now he had to give it right then and there. He had to give them the command, Makah bechorot. Gamarnu. Yeah? So fine. So now it says as follows. Yeah? כי אני הכבדתי ליבו. בכל המקום מצינו שיודע הקדוש ברוך הוא שחיזק ליבו רק בזאת. Why does he say over here, כי אני הכבדתי ליבו? I was the one that made his heart heavy. והטעם כי משה רבנו התפלא, איך ייתכן כבדות הלב אחרי מכת ברד? He said, how does Barad work? The Barad did not have an effect on him. Why? It says, the Gemara Masechet Berachot Nuntet says, לא נבראו רעמים, אלא לפשט התמימות שבלב. Why was the lightning and thunder created? In order to open up the crooked parts of the heart, which means it gets a person afraid. You understand? When there's a lot of lightning, thunder, it gets people scared. So he says, and Be'emet, it was like that, but Paro actually said, Chatati, right, apam, Hashem atzadik, v'ani v'ami yedeshayim. He did say it. After Makat Barad, right, the Barad, after the hail, he did say, listen, you should know, I and my people, we sinned, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right, is the tzaddik, and I myself and the nation, right, are the Reshayim. Even though people always say that it was like a play on words, just like, Ani esav bechorecha, they say that the way that Paro wanted to say it was, you should know, right, chatati, right, chatati apam, I sinned apam. Why did I sin this time? He said, because Hashem tzaddik va'ani. Because Hashem is the tzaddik and also myself. Ve'ami hareshayim, but my people are the reshayim. That's why I sinned. Why did I sin? Because I have the people. And the people, they're the reshayim. But Hashem and me, we're both tzaddikim. Yeah, it all depends how you read the word. Where do you read the pause? Yeah, it depends where you read the pause. Yeah, no, I'm the tzaddik. It's the people behind me. Me. Yeah, but anyway, but he says over here, so he says, Al tishtomem. Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Moshe Rabbeinu, don't worry about it. Why? I was the one that did it, so don't worry about it. Which means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was trying to tell Moshe Rabbeinu, don't be astonished if he didn't still have a heart, which doesn't make sense, because Be'emet, he'll still have it. I'm the one that's doing it, so don't worry about it. Okay? Fine. Then it says in the next pasuk, Ulman tesaper be'ozne bincha uvem bincha et asher italalti. Yeah, so he comes and he says as follows. What does this mean exactly? Ulman tesaper. It says tesaper is b'lashon yachid. Why? Right? It's singular. It's not speaking in plural. It's to say, L'ulman tesapru. Why does it say tesaper in singular? He says, but he's speaking to Moshe Rabbeinu. V'hu bimkom kol Yisrael. What's the proof? When it says, Vidatem ki ani. Right? Shetzrik shekol Yisrael yidu et zeh. Well, Vidatem ki ani Hashem. Right? What does that mean? Everyone has to know. But how is everyone going to know? Because Bemet, everyone's going to know through Moshe Rabbeinu. But he's talking to Moshe Rabbeinu, so he tells that in the singular, even though it's going to become in plural. Okay, fine. So now he says, right, like this. Ulman tesaper be'ozne mincha u've'mincha. כי עד כאן חייב אדם ללמוד לזרות תורה, ועד כאן יגיעו רחמי אב על הבן, שנאמר אם תשקול לי ולניני ולנכתי. He said, באוזני בנך ובמנך. The true love and the true obligation of teaching Torah is to your child and to your grandchildren. Yeah, once it gets one level after that, you don't have the obligation anymore to teach them Torah, and there's not the same rachamim, as there's not the same mercy as there is on a child. And they bring that from the pasuk, if you're going to lie to me, to my child, right, and to my grandchild. Yeah, so therefore he comes and he says, right, this, by the way, from here, if you remember when we spoke about this, we spoke about how does they calling nin before the neched. It comes out that the nin was not the great-grandchild, the nin there was actually the child. The neched was a grandchild. Right, nowadays it's the opposite. Usually the neched is a grandchild and the nin is the great-grandchild, right? But we spoke about it then. But here, that's what it says here. So he's bringing the proof that he's just saying that why does it say be'ozne vincha uve'mincha? Because you have a command to teach your children and your grandchildren Torah. And the mercy that you have is on your child and your grandchild. After that, it already ceases. Okay? It finishes. Okay? Fine. So now he says, Ulman tesaper be'ozne vincha. Says the Yalkut Teilim. Listen to this. This is a Yalkut Shimoni and Teilim. He says, Amar Bielazar, says the Bielazar, Amar lahem Moshe, says Moshe Rabbeinu, Lo b'ma'asechem atem nigalim. You're not going to be redeemed because of your actions. Ela leman tesaper be'ozne vincha, veliten shevach laHashem lesaper gdulato utilato ben haomot. You know why you're going to be freed? Not because you're tzaddikim and you have the good actions, because what you're going to do. You guys are going to come and you're going to make splendor the name of Hashem. You're going to thank Hashem. You're going to always, right, say everything of what it is. That in itself, that greatness in itself, right, that's the reason why you're going to be redeemed. Not because of your actions. It could be the actions of Bnei Yisrael were not enough to be redeemed. It was because in the future they're going to come and they're going to say thanks to Hashem and praise to Hashem. That's what's going to be. Yeah, you understand? Unman tesaper, right? That which I came and I did in Mitzrayim. Okay? Okay, there's a whole thing here exactly what is hitalalti exactly. But then he says, Vidatem ki ani Hashem. And now you're going to know that I am Hashem. Okay? Fine. So now he says, Ani Hashem l'shav l'dorot. Right? For now and for generations. Because of this musar that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to the Mitzrayim, the Bnei Yisrael are going to know for generations, and even the Goyim are going to know. They're going to take musar. Just like the Pelishtim, when they took the Aaron by them, right? And they were very hard in their hearts. And then afterwards, all the bad things happened until they left the Aaron. They left it there. And then, Bnei Yisrael, David HaMelech, they were able to take it back again. But it was the same thing, the same concept. Okay? Now it says, Vayavo Moshe ve'Aharon. So it says, Vayavo. It says, Lashon Yachid. But here, it's Moshe ve'Aharon. It should be said, Vayavo'u. What's going on here? Yeah? Why? So the Barbanel says, because Moshe was the Yikar. So it says, Vayavo Moshe ve'Aharon. That means even though it was both of them together coming, it just says Vayavo because of Moshe. Because Moshe was the main one. Aharon was the secondary. Okay? Katav Rabbi Eliezer, right, Ibn Ezra. Yadanu kirulano yavo Moshe el paro belo Aaron imo. But no. The reason why is because we know that Moshe will never come without Aaron, because he's a melit, he's the Turgeman, he's the translator. אבל הזכיר עתה משה ואהרון, בעבור שציווה פרעה להשיב את שניהם וגירש אותם באחרונה, שלא סגר. Here he says, because now he's telling them both to come, because now Paro is actually coming and divorcing them. He's like throwing them out. He's get out of here. You understand? That's what so therefore he says he didn't do so in all the other makot. So because of that, it comes and he says Vayavo, that they came, and then he sent them both out. Al matay me'anta. So until when are you going to be misarev? Until when are you going to stop, right? Or you're going to reject, right? My pleas. So le'anot, it says litkanea, which means how do you say shichnua, likana? How do you say not better? A better word for to giving up. It's that until when you're going to succumb, or when are you going to give in or to succumb yourself to? No, but relinquish is you're giving away something. Not giving up. It's when you're going to give in. When are you going to succumb to succumb, Yeah, succumb. That's a word. Succumb. There's another word also. Forgot the word. Right? But that's what he says over here. And so when are you going to do this? So he says over here, Al matai me'anta, katav Rabbeinu Bachiyai, ma kadosh baruch hu doresh min adam. What does HaKadosh Baruch Hu always want from the human being? Right? And we're going to finish with this, Rabbeinu Bachiyai. What does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want from the human being? He says, you know what he wants? Hachna v'shiflut. He wants humble. He wants a person to be humble. He doesn't want the nose in the air. He wants a person to be humble. Vehu davar navi. That's the words of the Navi. Right? So he says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he's looking at the ani. Usually, why does HaKadosh Baruch Hu look at the ani, the poor person? Because the poor person's humble. What's he going to be with his nose in the air about what? Arrogant about what? He has nothing to be arrogant about. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants it. That's why Unklus said, and you already know the Ki Achav Melech Yisrael Shaya Rasha, Oved Avodah Zarah. Look at Achav. Achav was a Rasha. He was Oved Avodah Zarah. V'nichna ve'anta lo chanato. All of a sudden, he was nichna, right? He became humbled. What happened with Nebuchadnezzar Rasha? Shelo nichna kvar yadat Hashem. But look at Nebuchadnezzar. But it helped him. That means by Achav, it helped him the humbleness. By Nebuchadnezzar, that he didn't become humbled, look at his punishment. And he was taken away, the entire Melucha from him, the entire kingdom. Since he made himself into a god, and we had to HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to bring him down. He was eating like grass, like an animal, for 7 years. Right? He was just eating grass. You understand? Yeah? Very, very important. A bit of a thing. So he says here, so too Parua Rasha, right? He says he had to be nichna, and that's why he was destroyed at the end, because he wasn't succumbed. He didn't actually humble himself, and therefore he was actually going to be destroyed by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Have a wonderful night. We have minyan?